Welcome everybody. We're already in back to open, so let's get started and get moving along on the agenda. Hope everybody had a good summer.
It's not over yet.
It was funny to see all the pictures today of all the kids going back to Facebook and stuff. All the kids going back to school, and I know my two. One's going to grade 9. She had a big smile on her face, and Quinn was going to grade 7. He was like this. So it was interesting to see how some are happy, some are sad, and it's great to see them all back to school. Those would be grandkids, not my own kids, my grandkids. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not starting that again. I've already gone that once. Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. The minutes of the August 7th, 2018 council meeting be approved. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Where are we here? Additional items. Anybody got additional items? Ron? Jean? Everybody? Almost. Okay. On past the hearts.
Oh yeah.
No, that's from heart.
No, thank you.
Moved by Councillor Turton, second by Councillor Dirksen, that the Town of Minto Council convenes in a committee of the whole. All in favor? Great. Really being good. Now we have public meetings, but they're at 5. So next up would be my 5 o'clock stuff.
It's just public meeting none.
Oh, sorry, not public meeting. We have minor variance 5 in the adjustment.
Yeah.
Delegations. We have no delegations. Public question. Okay. Correspondence. You going to speak to the one on the Conservation Authority?
Sure, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Brick. So the Maitland Valley Conservation Authority Board of Directors have put out a request. The title is the Draft Cost Sharing Proposal, and it's for water and erosion control. Everybody's aware that conservation authorities are similar to all the municipalities, and the money just doesn't seem to be going around. So insufficient funding to maintain or repair, which are the two key words, maintain or repair all of the water and erosion control infrastructure that we are responsible for. So therefore, the board is faced with determining how to deal with the challenge in the years ahead. So we have 3 dams, one in Gorey, Bluevale, and Brussels. And the MCVA is also responsible for maintaining the listable flood control structure and the Godreach Bluff stabilization project. So we're asking for municipalities' support in helping us make a decision. So the MCVA or MVCA has been utilizing accumulated surplus to do the repairs and maintenance on these 5, on the 3 dams and the other 2 projects. So we're looking at a 50-50 split. So the municipality that the dam or the listable project or the Godreach project, we're looking for, and again, it's maintenance and repair, and some of these dams are in pretty rough shape. They've been around for a long time, and there's not a whole lot of money to do the repairs. So the municipalities that these dams are in, we're asking for some advice on a 50-50 split. So if a dam is going to take, $100,000 to fix it, then we're looking at the municipality to help us out. So the MVCA would like a response from the municipality by September 14th.
Questions?
Councillor Turton, I just want to know that I'm a great believer in maintenance of these waterways and the 3 dams. My question is, first of all, I want to make a statement. I believe the provincial government should be stepping up to the plate and putting the money towards the conservation authorities to properly protect those dams, because if those dams break, then there's going to be significant damage from the break. Having said that, the alternative to not paying the 50% would be that all the municipalities in the conservation watershed would then be paying.
Good chance, yes. The levy would go up.
The levy would go up to all the municipalities. Thank you.
So the way we're looking at it is, if one of these dams aren't in your municipality, and so a lot of these dams are recreational.
Plus water control.
They hold the water back a little bit,
Yeah.
but they're still recreational. And
Yeah.
From 2 for sure, if they were removed, there wouldn't be an issue.
Significant issue. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's pretty well it in a
That
nutshell.
answers my
Is
question.
that, that's a good point you make. Ron?
So the Gory Dam is one of those that would make a difference. It's gone now anyway.
It's not gone.
It's flowing right through.
No. So the water level has to come up at a reasonable height in order to flow around the breach.
Correct.
Okay, so it's still
It actually, the dam stayed. It was the
Yep. The breach.
breach that's designed to give out.
You
That's
bet.
right.
You bet.
so is what are the two dams that say wouldn't make a difference?
I'm not gonna. I don't know that for sure. Okay. So there's 2 others. The Bluevale Dam,
Yes,
and it does hold back quite a bit of water.
Roxeter.
And Roxeter.
Brussels. I thought Brussels was the other one.
The Roxeter is their dam is still in pretty good shape. I think.
So it's Brussels, Bluevale, and Gorey. Okay, those are the 3.
Bill?
Thank you, Mayor Birch. Just a question through you, and I guess I should have thought of this before right now, but I was wondering, we're likely to have some flood control works done as a result of our flooding work. Does that mean, I'm not sure I saw it in here, but correct me if I'm wrong, if we do something new, will they pay half to put it in and maintain it, or do we know? Or is it,
No,
was it more talking about these existing
Yes,
facilities?
we're more talking about the existing.
Okay.
But we've got a problem with, so the Listowel flood control structure is in need of some repair as well.
Right. And we have in the past, as everybody knows in this council and the previous council, invested money into our watershed situation, where we've had monitors put in. We've done the flyby, and we're working on the flood plan mapping now, which I see some really good things. But I think the point that Bill made there, David, and maybe we can go back and talk about that. I don't know where, and I know the limitations of the Maitland Valley Conservation Authority as far as monetary. I think they, right now in the project we've been working on, they've had the use of Steve's expertise, which helps, and tries to work with that. So his time is money too, so he's been working with us on it. But I don't think they've ever indicated, to my knowledge, that they would actually come up with any cash for any of the fixes that we're going to make. Or am I wrong on that?
So the way I look at that is, this is present and current infrastructure that's crumbling.
Right.
So, there could be, so there's quite a number of municipalities involved in the watershed. There could be more than one that's looking at a new initiative.
Right. Yeah.
But we're all aware that there's definitely issues in Minto, namely Hairston, and you're right, we put quite a bit of money into it, and we've made some really good progress. So.
Okay. Ron?
Having read the report, that they're meeting with MVCA is meeting with the provincial government in September. this is probably passing the buck, but I'd sure like to know what the province has to say before we make a decision on that. Because I think the province has to come up with dollars for the Conservation Authority.
So we have met with both the province and the feds, and basically what it was we were trying to make sure that they understood the issues, because I mean, back was it mid-90s when all the funding, a lot of the funding had stopped, and so we're trying to bring them back up to speed, and we have met with them.
So they're asking us to reply back to this by the 14th. So that's why I wanted to bring it up, because we really don't have another meeting.
No.
Well,
So, sorry.
are you going to make a recommendation?
Just one question.
Yeah.
So we decide, okay, we're not going to put this on a levy for Howick to Turnberry off. What if Howick says, sorry, we haven't got enough money?
So
our 50% isn't going to come forward. What happens then?
So that is exactly why we're throwing it out there.
Exactly.
To get people to
commit.
Give us their opinion. Yeah. And we're quite fortunate that all three of those dams are in different municipalities. If they were all in one, then it's pretty serious.
I don't feel that we have a problem. Wouldn't have a problem saying that we would back a recommendation. I would like to us, if they need help on the provincial level, for us to send a letter as well, lobbying the provincial government that really they should be taking a little bit more responsibility on this stuff. So I guess that's what we need to do. So if I can have direction from council, I can maybe work with Bill and send a response back. Or how do you want to do that?
If I may, Mayor Bridge, if I may. I think what I heard from council around the table was, I think as a first course of action, you support the province, maybe the federal government,
absolutely,
being more active in participating in these projects.
Right.
We heard that the National Disaster Relief Program may be canceled after 2020. So I think that would be the first part of your resolution. The second part is, in principle, you don't have any issue with sort of the cost sharing as outlined. It doesn't really affect us because we don't have any infrastructure yet. But the third point I think you might want to ask the authority is, can they take a position on what happens with new stuff that might come out of the flooding and erosion control work we do here? So.
Yes, I'll make that. I like all three of those suggestions. I'll make that a motion. And if there's a fourth, we can put it out there. But I think the important thing is that we respond.
Yeah, no, that's why I was concerned we don't have time to. But I like. Is everybody happy with that? Second that. All in favor? Okay. Yeah, because we're not committing, but we're giving them an answer they need, because they got to work forward. And if they get a bunch of no's on this, then they'll know where they stand. Right?
You've heard.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else in correspondence?
Yes, the Wellington County Fire Prevention Night at the Races.
Yes.
It's my understanding that it's been canceled, and I think we should make that
has it?
clear.
Okay. It's canceled because there wasn't enough support across the county for the summer and stuff like that.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you.
They couldn't light a fire under a horse.
The one did you talk about?
Yes.
Yes, we did. Okay, we did. It was seconded by.
I don't think you called the question though.
I thought I said, is everybody in favor?
Oh.
Yeah, agreement, and then we went.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so if we'll just receive the other correspondence, is that?
Yeah, that was except for that one little comment.
Sure.
So can
I'll make that motion.
Ron and Jean, all in favor? Gotta get going, Jean. Gotta get on. Okay, so correspondence is done. All right, committee minutes. Oh, they have lit up. I'm working on my new system here. It doesn't click up there.
Yeah, I can't believe how improved this is.
It's nice and fast.
There we are.
Hard to
We
keep
may not
up.
have done
There
this
we go.
the first year of our.
Extra clicking. It's extra clicking. I got this updated version here. Oh, there we go. Bigger right there.
Mine's doing that.
Okay, go ahead.
Just go ahead.
Uh,
Yeah,
Go
this will
ahead.
be
Sorry, I'm just
brief.
working on my new little system.
Sure. Okay, this is going to be really brief. This is a small signage grant for the mailbox coffee. We would be giving them $122.63, but for small businesses, every little bit helps. It was totally approved in unanimous support from the Hairston DRC. And yeah, our grant program has been pretty much fully subscribed. We have another small structural grant that'll be coming forward, and then we're out of money for this year through the CIP. So
Excellent.
Good.
Just need
Questions for Belinda?
approval of that. If you haven't been to Mailbox Coffee, check it out.
Yes, it's very good.
Very good. Very nice people too.
Yeah, the recommendation is Council of Town of Minto receives the August 24th, 2018 report of Business Economic Development regarding signage improvement grant application H16 for the amount of $122.63 for the. You want to move that? Okay. Second. Gene, all in favor? Okay. Good. That one there. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. And we have the building assistance.
Mayor Bridge, I'll start on
You
this
doing that
one.
Oh, here's Michelle. She's coming up. Go ahead.
Maybe Michelle could go over the past severance application, what you considered, and then I'll do the other detail before
So
maybe.
through you, Mayor Bridge, the property that you see before you on the report was done, I believe, just before the end of last year was the severance from Mary Street for the apartment building, and the bylaw was passed to allow for the 5-unit cluster townhouses with a 6-meter front yard, 3.8-meter rear yard, and a 3-meter side yard, which the new site plan before us complies with. It is zoned appropriately and has access to water, sanitary, and storm sewer. Maintenance of the water sewer line shall be maintained by the landowner, and the surface water drainage is provided by way of a 150 millimeter deep swale, which is also to be kept entirely on the developer's land so that drainage to the abutting land does not occur. We've also requested that maintenance of the shared driveway should be referenced in the agreement to ensure that the town is not involved. And you can see from hopefully the pictures on the other page, there are some small and fairly new trees on that part, and we're hoping that should they be removed, that we would like to have them replaced, either on the land if possible or on another location.
Can you leave that picture?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That's fine.
Just so that driveway that we see on the picture, that is currently owned by Mr. Sinclair.
Well, so that driveway was in existence, and so the apartment building has created their own separate driveway just on there, and I just actually received a message from our roads
So
foreman
my
to say
question
that
is,
there.
though, Mr. Sinclair has to continue to agree to allow that to be a mutual driveway?
No,
Is
that
that
driveway belongs to the new.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that there's some confusion because in the report,
Yes.
Yeah.
the site plan shows a 10.1 meter setback, and it kind of goes through that driveway.
Yep.
And it actually turns out that the lot line is on the other side, so that driveway is Mr. Sinclair's. So part of the reason for the recommendation was that we want that clarified, because the way the drawing shows it, it is mutual, but
It
you
was
built
once
another one on the other side.
originally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think the recommendation covers that, but there, if you look on the first page, you can see where the new paved driveway has been put in up on the screen and on your report. And then the existing driveway would be extended, and that is owned by Mr. Sinclair. So the one
Correct.
in that picture you're looking at is owned by Mr. Sinclair.
Yep. I just wanted to clarify that and see if there was any future agreement to maintain it as a mutual driveway, but obviously not. Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
And the bridge, yeah. So I'm looking at the picture before that, with the red dotted line and the retained, yeah. So looking down on that picture, what is that on the right hand side where the new paved driveway is? Is that how far over does that building come?
If I may, there's a
Did you see the
20-foot
picture?
20-foot dimension. So the new paved driveway is 20 feet.
Right on top of that roof.
That would truly just be my inability on the mapping system. Trying
It's not
to create a
necessarily-
dotted line for you. It's
There's
not
no
to
line on
scale.
the
It's
roof.
not
No,
completely
no, no.
accurate.
Okay.
You can see that's a shadow, and so no,
what
that's
that
not
is?
the most
Yes.
accurate line in the world. But it's on the next page or the next drawing. You can see there's a 20-foot setback,
Setback of 20 feet.
so it's just wide enough.
Perfect, yeah.
Any other questions? I got a recommendation here. Council receives the Building Assistance August 30th, 2018 report titled Proposed Site Plan and St. Clair Mary Street, Palmerston, and approves the general grading and servicing plan prepared by Triton Engineering dated 2018-809, subject to the owner executing with the town a site plan agreement requiring completion within 2 years and provision of final landscaping details to the town. Mover in a second.
Sure.
Ron and Dave, all in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have the bylaw officer. There he is. Welcome, Cam.
Mayor Bridge, members of council. We've got another resident on Regency Drive that's looking to put in a chicken coop. I don't see any problems with it. He hasn't got the coop built yet, but he's got a big back area. As you can see, it's just over half an acre. So there are some letters that were sent in, 3 letters sent in with no concerns about this property owner. That's all I got.
Just a comment.
Come.
I think we should establish a bylaw that everybody has to build the chicken coop as nice as that guy on King Street. I guess it is King Street and down behind Minto Motors. Or
Oh,
my gosh, that place is immaculate. It's something else. Just a comment.
trying to think of his name, but yeah.
Oh, talk about neat and tidy.
Okay. Any other questions? Seems to comply. So recommendation that the council of the town of Minto receives the bylaw officer's September 4th, 2018 report regarding the exemptions to bylaw number 0280, keeping backyard hens at 95 Regency Drive, and approves the exemption. Moved by Gene, second by Dave. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Here's a good news story. Welcome, Terry. I'm surprised you even could be here today because you're so busy.
It's been a busy day. Anyways, construction continues to be very good for the town of Minto. In July, we issued 37 permits worth $4.5 million. So that's allowed us to exceed what our previous last year's record was. So we're definitely doing good. Housing-wise, in July, we issued 7 permits for new single-family dwellings. And in August, things did continue as well to continue strong. So we issued $3.2 million in construction value that month. And so we're right now, as of a couple of days ago, we're sitting at $3.9 million higher than last year. So almost $25.5 million and versus $21.8 from last year. So, and things are not looking like they're going to slow down at all. So it's which is good. So our permit numbers are on par with a record number last year. The one big sector that's really has really increased from last year is the agricultural sector.
Wow, yeah.
So we're sitting at almost 11 million in just that area alone. The big driver on that is barns. We issued a lot of barns. So highlights for July and August. So in total, we did 10 new houses. 1 in Harriston, 2 in Palmerston. Again, Clifford seems to be beating out those 2 with 5, and then 1 new out in the country. And in those 2 months, again, we issued 4 new barns. So a new hog barn, a new dairy barn, and 2 new beef barns. So in 4 months, we've issued 8 permits for barns. So it's definitely booming out there. For planning, just to step back to that last slide, just to explain what my pictures are here. So the one on the left is the new road that is there for the Quality Homes development. So that's kind of looking from my back would have been to the storm pond, looking towards Arthur. The middle picture, that's one of our big hog barns going up. It's roughly 60 feet wide by 406 long. So it's pretty big. And then that's a picture of a new house going up in the big hamlet of Drew. So that one's going to be a nice one there.
For Drew or lower?
That'll be just right at the corner at 2, right?
No, it's not. It's one of the lots that Bruce Shannon severed a few years ago.
Oh,
so
but is it up by Bruce's?
Yes, on the same side of the road as Bruce. Yeah.
Okay, on top of the hill.
So the other aspect of my department, we deal with the planning applications, which has gone off the chart as well. So we've done 21 consent applications. So that would include surplus farm dwelling severances, part lot control, that sort of stuff. 17 zone amendments, so 11 rezoning applications and 6 minor variances, and then 6 site plan control applications. So that end of things is keeping Michelle employed and out of trouble, so that's good. So the pictures I have on there, that's a residential addition going up. Just a picture showing that they weren't undermining the foundation when they dug out for the addition. The middle one is something that I have had serious problems with over and over and over again. That is a brand new toilet, but unfortunately the flush cycle is higher than what the code allows for. So I think at this point, over the last 2 years, I've had 70 toilets that weren't acceptable. So it's still, this is a picture from an occupancy 2 weeks ago. So it's still a problem. And then the picture on the right is a new agricultural shed we have going up just north of the office here. So it's just a nice big one. I'm kind of jealous. I wish I had one that size on my own. But
That's on the 12th?
It is on the 12th,
Right off
yes.
the 12th.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
So again, we've done 158 permits. Our 10-year average is almost 138. So we're sitting right at where we were last year. And that picture is actually a water stopping detail of that same barn I showed you a few minutes ago. The barn was so big they had to do it in multiple pours. So that's a cold joint between the 2 different pours. So that yellow thing is a water stop detail that we need to look for. And then our construction value. So our 10-year average is 13.5 million. So we're just slightly higher than that by about 12. So we're doing good. And the picture on the right there, that was actually a good catch from my department. There's a gusset plate missing on this truss over here. So right here, there should be a gusset plate like that other one. So this house would have failed in short order. It's definitely a weak joint in the roof structure. So that's all I've got.
Questions?
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. The American Standard toilet, like, is that something that you, like, how do you handle that? You get 70 that happened.
Basically, I pass occupancy because it's not an occupancy item, but in order to finalize the house, they have to swap them out or at least replace the tank with the proper one. So it's really frustrating for both myself, contractors, homeowners. The one house I did, the toilets were about $700 a pop, and there was 4 of them that didn't comply.
So is American Standard, are they doing anything?
They all have toilets that comply.
Yep.
It's just, unfortunately, the 6-liter toilets, which that's what that one was, are so commercially available. They're a lot of times cheaper than the 4.8. So that one in particular, actually, that it took that picture of, the house had 3 washrooms. 2 met the code, 1 didn't. So that one was a fact of them dropping off the wrong toilet. So, but they're installed. I don't know if you can put them back on the shelf after that.
Oh, tough.
Yeah.
I just have one question on the barns, Terry. Are these new barns a replacement of barns that, like?
Both actually.
Both.
So I was just out down Judy's Road before I came here, and that's a brand new dairy barn. That hog barn is a new barn. There's an existing barn on the property, but that existing barn was set up for beef cattle, so it's a new operation, but on an existing farm.
I guess I look at it and I see 40 units going up, and it's kind of nice to see that people are actually reinvesting in our farms. I mean, I assume that's part of it too. So the next generation is coming along.
Yeah, historically, like over the 10, 15 years that I've paid attention to it, normally we get like one new big barn build in a year.
Yeah.
Last year, I think we were at 6 or 7. This year, we're over a dozen.
Amazing.
So it's
good.
And they're not small.
Thank you.
Just had one question.
Yes. Oh, go ahead, Ron. Sorry. You lean back there, Billy.
Yeah, I know.
I can't see it sometimes.
Toilets.
Yep.
So they've installed them, sell them.
Yep.
Builders don't know. I don't understand that.
They
Like if they're building these,
like it's not a new requirement. It came into the building code in the 2014 amendment. So it's been on the books for 4 years now. I don't know if it's a problem, people not paying attention to what they're ordering, or the other thing I'm concerned about is that other areas where these plumbers work, they don't look for it. So they've never been caught on it in the other 20 houses they build, but they come here and
so I could buy one of those old toilets and put it in my house.
Yeah. For a replacement toilet, you can. You don't need a building permit, so you can go for it. But in new builds or renovations, it's got to be the 4.8s.
Don't you think retailers should be held accountable for selling these things to new houses?
That's the thing. That size of toilet is acceptable in non-residential. So commercial, industrial. So it's not that there's something wrong with the toilet.
Right.
It's just the application where that toilet's
They're
going.
cheaper, so people are taking advantage.
Yeah. And this is the whole water conservation initiatives. So.
Somebody move to accept the report?
Yeah.
David? Rudy, all in favor?
Perfect. Thank you.
Great job. Keep it up. Okay. Who's doing this one? Oh, okay, Bill.
Well, Mayor Bridge, members of council, in absence of the clerk's assistant, I guess I'll take on the delegation of powers policy and bylaw. I know how much you like me to bring forward long, detailed bylaws for lengthy discussion, and so here's another one. This is actually a mandatory bylaw under the Municipal Act, and both myself, the deputy clerk, and clerk's assistant all had a hand in putting this together. It basically clarifies the delegation relationship between, and she's here, between council and staff. And so I don't know if Quinn wants to come up and help with this, or we'll just carry on. But there's two parts of this bylaw. The first is a policy, and the second is a delegated authority schedule. And we do have delegation bylaws in place, and this would repeal all the other ones. But it basically says who will do certain things on behalf of you, and it also clarifies your role as decision makers and fully accountable for the town's activities, and that you act by bylaw, but sets out the limitations on staff as far as what decisions they can and can't make. So I'm not sure how much detail you want me to go through this, or if you have any questions. One point about why in the policy, why is there so much about what the CAO does? And that's because that position, while it is allowed for under the Act, is not actually a mandatory position. You must have a clerk and a treasurer, but you don't have to have a CAO. So why do you have one? I'm glad you do.
What do we need that for?
Oh, that's all
Nice.
That's all, Davis. You speak out loud on that one.
That's all right. Making me blush.
Sorry, Bill.
And so in the policy, we outline what the roles of the CAO are, and that's generally exercising the control and management of the municipality. The treasurer and the clerk have very detailed descriptions of their responsibilities in the Act, so that's why that one's treated a little different. And then if you go to the bylaw section, there's a whole series of duties that are presented, and who would be responsible for them. And you can, as a staff person that has certain delegated authorities, a department head can designate someone to do that, but if you're designated to do something, that designate can't further delegate it. So kind of tries to put a limit on it. I don't know, did I miss anything, Quinn or Annalene? Do you want to go through the bylaw schedules at all? I don't.
I don't think so.
You sure?
Yeah, we're sure.
You pointed out the biggest thing in it about if you're designated.
Redesignate.
I
That
think
is
that was the
important.
biggest point out of the bylaw.
And the other thing is there's certain things you can't delegate as council. You can't delegate the authority to do a budget. You can't delegate the authority to tax. That kind of stuff. So you retain all the main statutory authorities. This doesn't take away from that. But it is making clear who does what on your behalf.
I'm just curious about the singing payments. Second bullet point there on page 1, on the second page.
Signing, I think that's supposed to be.
I think you have to sing them now.
We should put singing payments.
We could have a quartet.
I think Gord's going to do the singing payments later.
Are you, Gord? Are you saying? Better spice it up a bit if you sang it. Yeah.
I love the example of corporate partnerships. Butter tarts.
The Butter Tarts Trail, yeah. Yeah, that was one. That was a good one. Yeah.
Without raising.
Okay. All right. Can I have a motion to move this? I got a recommendation. I'll give you the recommendation that the clerk's assistant August 20th report regarding proposed consolidated delegations of power bylaw with corresponding policy be received, and the council consider passing the delegation of power bylaws in open council. Mover and seconder. Judy and Ron, all in favor? And I just want to point out, Quinn, you must have had a lot of fun doing this report. Did you learn much?
It was interesting, actually.
Yeah, I figured.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
All in favor? Thank you. Next up, appointment. Goodness.
That's
Oh, there she is. They're right there. Lean, you're on this one.
So my report to you today is about the appointment of the Joint Compliance Audit Committee members. That is working with all clerks and all municipalities in the County of Wellington. The clerk from Westlanch took in all the applications. 4 people applied. They were all highly qualified. Usually you have between 3 and 5 people on the committee. So we are choosing to have 4. And I feel that they are all good candidates for that, and I ask that you accept this report and consider a bylaw in open session.
Questions? Have a housekeeping item.
It's pretty housekeeping, yeah.
Okay, mover and a seconder. Judy and Jean, all in favor? Okay. Still there. Go ahead, Emily.
Well, I'll start with Bill.
This one,
Oh yeah, this is the clerk's department.
Yes. So
yes.
Again, another riveting presentation on behalf of the most exciting department in the municipality. And I would say that Annalene and Quinn, in Tanya's absence, have done a great job because I've taken on a little bit more on the public works side, so they're basically running the show, and they're doing a great job. So I'll start this. What we're looking at is a review of 2017 and 2018 today, kind of taking a little page out of the Economic Development Department, who kind of did the same thing. It's just a question of timing us trying to get to things and get it up here in a timely way. So then Annalene will talk a bit about the election. Then we'll remind you about the 2-year plan we started over a year and a half ago, and then bring forward some issues to think about in 2019. That picture is a Minto metal picture taken in the basement of my home not too long ago when we presented our Minto metal group. So all 38 people fit down there. So it's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2017 we did 108 bylaws, 65 so far in 2018. I think we'll probably hit the 100 mark again this year. I mentioned when we talked about the delegation of powers bylaw, the exciting presentations that we do on our bylaws. And I think if you reflect back to 2017, you'll remember the exceptional presentation on the water supply and billing bylaw, which was some 100 pages long. That was followed shortly by the sewer use and connection bylaw, another major bylaw that was in need of update. And then last but not least was the purchasing and procurement bylaw. So as much as those aren't very sexy and fun things to do, it's very, very important to have them up to date and working and enforceable. And so you did a lot of work in 2017 putting those together. And they involved a lot of the department heads providing it feedback and making sure we covered the things that we needed to cover. 2 subdivision agreements, Clare Ridge Estates and Creekbank Meadows in 2017. We hadn't done one since the subdivision in Harriston back in 2012, so it had been a while. And then we worked out with the manager of business and economic development a new structural grant agreement. So when we're giving away those $20,000 and $40,000 grants or whatever, that we had a clear agreement as to how that money can be used and what happens with that. We documented 11 rezoning bylaws and 4 to date in 2018, and I think the chief building official brought forward a lot more detail on where you are with your rezoning applications. Again, historic levels. We did 11 land sale bylaws in 2017 and 3 for 7 lots so far in 2018. So all 10 of the lots on Ann Street are sold. There's 3 left to build on, I think. I saw entrances going in for those last 3 last week, so I think one of those is closed and the other 2 are set to close soon. So all told, those sales revenue from those lots on Ann Street is $640,000. And the quarry that we sold last year, the town's quarry, including the reserves amount, we're $685,000. So, in 2017, you also updated the strategic plan. We had a report back in 2017. In 2018, we had a public meeting. And then we referred the plan to the next council who can get into more detailed consultation. And remember, we changed the monitoring section of that plan so that it occurs at least once in the new term of the council. In 2017, you went to a new animal control service agreement. It's a no-kill shelter. It's very well run and I think up the standard on that service, which is a very, very important one for the municipality. Discuss the bulk water policy. There was such a small amount taken in 2017, 2018. We haven't really put a lot of information on it. I think what we'll do is put some in the budget. It's even less than what we had thought has come out. And then the succession planning, 2017-18, we did present the succession plan in general detail in open session, and but we've had a lot more discussions in closed sessions about that. We know we have between 6 and 9 people retiring within 5 years. I think some of those you'll see starting to come forward very soon, and I think council's put in place a plan to have a nice smooth transition as people move out and we bring people in to backfill in some sectors. The other thing the employee profile is from 2016. Interesting that we have 12 people over 50, only 4 between 40 and 50, and then 24 that's less than 40. I think that's a little bit of an unusual profile, which is a good thing. It's a younger profile. I think that's a good thing. So we'll have a few retirements here in the next few years, and then maybe have a little bit of a lull, and then there'll be, see what happens. All heck will break loose in the next 15 to 20. But I think we've got a good plan moving forward with that. And then the quality homes matter. I just bring that forward because there was a lot of land transfers, issues to deal with between quality homes and the previous owners, the town. Chief building official spent a lot of time with myself and others working on that one. So I think we're getting close to a point where some permits will be issued there. So Annalene will take the next few.
Sure. Since implementing citywide in order to log all of our complaints, etc., we've had 685 complaints logged. Usually you see those complaints mostly during winter days or storms. It's not like every day we're getting a whole bunch of complaints, but you always see massive complaints, of course, during events like that. We've issued 547 burn permits, and we notify each of the Minto fire, either Clifford or Harriston of that, or Palmerston. Last year officiated 27 weddings and issued 40 marriage licenses. We issued and registered 219 burial permits, 11 media releases, 23 open and 12 closed agendas and minutes were prepared. So we saved almost 100,000 sheets of paper with this continued electronic agenda. So that saves thousands of dollars annually. Since its inception of our council meeting YouTube videos, we've put on 165 videos with over 1,015 views. For the agendas, we always have to do follow-up. So we've followed up on over 400 items last year from the 23 council meetings. We received over 200 pieces of correspondence last year. The Tom Rims filing system continues. It's been going quite well. A lot more people are getting on board, and we're implementing more and more electronic storage. We also help out with agendas and minutes for Minto Trails, Trees for Minto, Employee Committee, and Joint Health and Safety. We set up for council training and logistics. And of course, the volunteer dinner, which 2017 was in Clifford, and 2018, which was in Palmerston. Election 2018. Oh. So we continue working on the voters list. Right now is big on our list. We're working on that. We ask anyone who may feel that they may not be on the list to give us a call here at the office. We'll check for you. So that takes quite a while. Again, all of our information for the voters list comes from MPAC. They have information on owners of properties, and that's about it. It's not the same as a federal or provincial election. We do not get the same information as they do. Anyways, we've created procedures and policies and forms. We passed, of course, a bylaw authorizing the vote by mail. We prepared all the council candidate packages, and of course, everyone put in their packages. We've updated our website and social media. Again, we reviewed the over 6,000 person voter list. We're preparing to hire over 50 election day personnel. I've just sent out letters. Outreach to the nursing homes. We always go to the nursing homes to help them with their voting. We're going to have vote reception centers in all three community centers for one day. It'll allow people to come not only to put their ballots in if they have them, but if they were not on the list or do not have a package, we're going to be able to print them right there and provide it for them. Of course, October 22nd is voting day. We will be open at the office until 8 p.m. We'll also probably open up the council chamber here for anyone who wishes to stay in here and get live updates on the information. And of course, additional follow-up and financial reporting obligations. Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to say that Annalene and Quinn are basically doing all that work. So they just check with me from time to time on things, but they're essentially running it, and they're doing a great job. And one of the things I really like is that they're going to hire the people to do the counting. So it's so much cheaper than tabulators and all that stuff, and it also gets people involved from the community and seeing the process. So
I think it's about half the cost of one tabulator, hiring 50 people. That's true. Yeah.
Wow.
Good stuff.
And I think you have contingencies if there happens to be some kind of strike.
We're trying not to talk about any possible mail strikes, but if there is, there will be contingencies in place. Yes, that's true. In 2016, we had 22 open meetings, but in 2017, we had 23. If you look, there's a comparison between the two. Really, it's about the same at the end of the day. For each 1 minute spent in closed, 6 minutes were spent in open. The average time for the open meetings is perhaps a little bit less in 2017, but we also had one extra one. So,
if you remember, in 2017, we had some delicate personnel matters being on, so that added to the average. Otherwise, we'd had a little bit lower time period. So I thought I'd bring forward the 2-year plan. You did actually see this back in February of 2017, and in it I haven't changed the arrows much, just added arrows in sort of to the right or made them longer. So some of the things that are on this plan we've talked about already. The first one at the top is the water bylaw and sewer bylaw. I could go through those in a great bit more detail if you'd like, but if they're in yellow, that means they're finished. MSC clinic leases, those are the Municipal Services Corporation leases. So remember, you formed a corporation to take over the Harrison Lions Medical Clinic. Back when we first presented this, we were renegotiating with Dr. Doyen, but she moved to the family health team. So we now have a new lease with Mr. McDonald on his chiropractic business, and we are renegotiating with Dr. Van Sickle, who's taken over more space, and they have a lease right now. So that's within an eyelash of being completed too. The IT strategic plan, we did in 2017 have some discussion around that. Council was talking a bit about laptops versus standalone computers. There's a little bit more work to be done in that area, but for now we're carrying on as we had before. We had reported to you at budget in 2017 a little bit about that. Of course, budget 2017 is there. The fire master plan is finished. Purchasing bylaw, another one of those fun long bylaws, it was completed. The Clifford downtown project start. Remember in 2017 we started the public meetings, open house, and some of the discussions, the mayor's breakfast and so forth. That project is well underway, and in fact we see some asphalt in phase 1 and phase 2. So pretty exciting to see that one coming in, hopefully on time and definitely within budget. 2 strategic plan initiatives that we already talked about are there. Minto energy strategy is interesting. Back in 2017, when the previous provincial government was in place, they had a very detailed energy strategy, and they were setting up a program where you had to have an energy strategy in place as a municipality to access some of that funding. With the new government, we kind of saw something coming late last year, so we've held off on acting on that further. So we're not quite sure where that's going, but we do know that we probably don't need an energy strategy right this minute. We do still need to file next summer our green energy plan, which we had done in-house before and will commit to do in July of 2019. The Class EA for the Harrison Industrial Park, that was approved back in April of 2017. Harrison floodplain maps, now that's one of those arrows that I made a lot longer toward the right, but if you look, that arrow started in April of 2017. That is before we had the flood. We were on to that issue. It's just very, very unfortunate that we did have this kind of storm we did on June 23rd. Those floodplain maps that we started on back in we started well before 2017. Those floodplain maps are now here. We've seen them. They're so detailed you can pick up a coffee cup in a 100-acre field. So they're a tremendous amount of data with them, and they're also in 3 dimensions. So that adds even more data. So we're working with the county and the Conservation Authority to get that in a usable format to help us with planning. And more of that will be coming back to council later this fall. And then we have a public meeting in November, late November, where we'll come back with some ideas for upstream, in-stream, and downstream solutions in Harrison. In fact, a lot of the farmers came forward and spoke to Steve Jackson from the Conservation Authority about their ideas. So it was very interesting when he had his office hours here that week. Our solar installations, there was an article on that in the news. We've zeroed that one out. We got 4 of 8 done. We looked at our compensation policy. We looked at the issue of central booking, and that reporting had come back to you, and the Recreation Department Facilities Group have done a great job implementing that, and I think it's working. You set your new remuneration. The Municipal Services Corporation had their annual general meeting, and we've completed budget 2018. And budget 2019 later on, we've just starting to twist the treasurer's arm to try and get some of the year-end stuff. So far nothing's broken, but tremendously busy right now with reporting on grants and so forth. Annalene mentioned the TomRIM system. That's the universally accepted filing system for all municipal files. Our departments are in different stages on that, but what is good about it is it's all standardized now. A lot of it's electronic, and even more of it is searchable, so we can retain and find things a lot better than we were able to before. We're working on the human resources policies, and we'd like to bring them into this council just to refresh some of them. Most of any stuff that's changed there you have seen, but majority of it is just changing wording and so forth related to policies done in 2007. Trails, that's another area where we kind of had a shorter arrow in that place, but Deputy Mayor Faulkner took over that committee, and they've done a great deal of work in growing the trail committee. So back in 2017, when we were starting it, we had the mayor and some staff working on it, and that's now come to a bigger fruition with more members of the public on it as well. eScribe, I know you have frustrations with your tablets from time to time, but as Annalene mentioned, we're saving a lot of time and money with that, and also makes the recording and of files and sharing of reports a lot more efficient. The complaint process on CityView, that is now, all those complaints are now mechanized, done on electronic basis, and monitored as per provincial legislation. So we have to document all that. We have to have that all available, and we have to make sure people go through the entire complaint process in case they do choose to appeal to the ombudsman. So touch wood, we haven't had one of those yet, but their last step is always here before you if they don't get satisfaction through the staff. Performance reviews for CAO and other staff have been completed. Succession planning, we talked about. Leadership training, a number of staff have been taking leadership training. Annalene, I think you took it. Several of Belinda's taken it, Mike and others. And again, this is all preparing people to take on more responsibility when some of the more senior people start leaving. Agricultural incubator, I think Belinda did a lot of work in 2017 on that, and that will be coming back in a different form than originally talked about. I think the committee was formed back then. Palmerston industrial expansion, that kind of fell into something different. We'll talk about later as far as the Palmerston master or secondary plan. We see budget 2019, the municipal election, new council orientation, and the rec and facilities trails master plan. So those are some things that have yet to come forward, but I think you can see that a lot of what you said in that 2-year plan you accomplished, and that's a good thing. 2-year plan, that additions or anomalies that I guess can't always predict. We had 2 floods, so we weren't necessarily planning on those, and that took a lot of resources. We had municipal drain initiatives somewhat linked to the floods, but also linked to the number that we have, and council started a monitoring process on those drains, and we're getting feedback now, and I think that helped with some of the delays, and we've had 2 delegations to speak on that issue at the province. We assume the acting director of public works role, and then that's been gone without replacing that position for heading on to 2 years now, and the department itself has restructured, and you approved that not too long ago. We've also had 4 parental and 2 health leaves over this period of time. So whereas members of the public may see some new faces in facilities and other locations here, they're not necessarily permanent faces. And so I think the staff has done a great job filling in for those people who have gone on leave. And we wish the people who are on health leave the best and coming back as soon as they're able to do so. So our parental leaves are starting to come back. I think Tanya,
she comes back.
Grace is back now. Tanya comes back next week. Stacy,
in October,
not too long, and then we have one in the water department that will be later next year. So the North Clifford secondary plan and the West Palmerston secondary plan and the cemetery master plan all kind of came out of other initiatives. We were planning on those in our 2-year plan, but I think it's good that the council started those documents. And the West Palmerston secondary plan, there's a public meeting that will be held on September 18th from 5 to 6:15 at the Palmerston Arena, and we'll get some feedback from the public. And I actually did have one phone call commending the town for doing that kind of long-range planning, so we're looking forward to getting some feedback on that. And just to finish off, what's coming in 2019, we plan on having the inaugural council meeting at the Town Hall Theater. I think that's better than kind of cramming in here, and hopefully those that choose to continue on and are successful will be able to bring a few more family members and enjoy that important ceremony. Council orientation is December 11th. Provincial funding and reporting, that will all be new, I think, in 2019. So we'll look forward to what's announced on our Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund and other things that we're obliged to do. I think I sent out to Council the 5 priorities of the minister, and 3 of them were cutting red tape and streamlining and so forth. So I think that's probably a good thing for us. Succession planning, we'll have a decision on the operations structure with the new council and others as they depart the scene. The new council will have the strategic plan to update. Flood control public meeting in November. North Clifford secondary plan. Official plan amendment, which the county says will be coming forward hopefully this year. And then in 2019, 2020, the 5-year review of the county official plan. So that's just a few things that are coming up in 2019. And did I miss anything, Annalee?
No, I think that looks pretty good.
Sorry it went on, but we wanted to make sure you knew the breadth of what was going on and had some idea that we are looking into the future as well.
Questions, comments? I think it was well done, Bill, and nice to see those little lines all being completed. I think that gives you some visual. Just on the red tape thing, I just want to say I know some of the councillors were at some of the delegations. I was at some for Western Wardens as well, and they are taking seriously at the new government on cutting red tape. They have an actual person in charge of that, and we're supposed to send anything we think is an over. I know the clerk's department's looking at that, but anything we see that's a duplication or whatever, we're supposed to send it to them. They will take it under advisement, because I think we were up to almost 300 reports we do every year, and that takes a lot of time and effort, and some of those reports I'm sure don't even get looked at. So I think they've realized that it has become a bit of an elephant, and not easy cutting red tape, because there's regulations that I'm sure are important to be there. But at the same token, if we're just doing duplications and stuff, they're looking to get rid of some of that. So I'm hopeful from our discussions, and I know some of the council hopeful that was going to be the case. So I need a motion to accept your clerk's presentation on today. All in favor? Very good. Thank you very much.
Good report.
This is yours, Bill. No,
It wasn't boring. Are you sure?
Oh, for as far as like whatever. Yeah. Okay, Bill, you got this one.
Outdoor patios. They're coming to Minto next year. We have a couple of sketches for I call it the former Max building. I don't know what it was called in Palmerston before.
It's been a bank, hairdressers,
clothing store.
It's a heck of a moldy old site not too long ago, and I think this owner has gone through and with the support of the town has made quite a change. The next stage is to get these tenants in the building, and I know the business and economic manager has been facilitating with this owner new business initiatives. So that's exciting to see. The next step of these outdoor patios, which he has provided some sketches showing them for the 2 businesses, the Bombay Sports Bar and the Kofi Cafe. We've determined that they probably need to go against the buildings on the sidewalks if they're to be licensed, and probably for ease of operations. So on the next page, there's a picture of one in Barrie. You can see how they might work as the business secures the sidewalk area with an outdoor location, and then sidewalk is extended into the parking, and people walk around it. The key thing is making sure that's accessible for persons of all abilities, and that some of the street furniture doesn't get too high and blocks visibility and so forth. So that's the model that we're looking at for Minto. There's some criteria in there about when they could happen. Typically, we're looking at between the May long weekend and Thanksgiving. If they want to go earlier, the main thing is making sure that our streets have been properly swept and are prepared. This year, we would have not been able to make a May start because we had ice storms and things going on at weird times. So we threw that in there so that the businesses have an idea generally when they be able to do them. They close at 11 p.m. They can open as early as 8 a.m. and they can be licensed, but they have to meet all the AGCO requirements plus health unit and others. $2 million liability. You can put together a standard agreement to sign with them. That wouldn't be too long. This is happening all over the place. I think it would be a lot of fun if some of the businesses carry on with this in Clifford and Harrison and Palmerston. So we're certainly recommending that you consider these criteria and look forward to getting feedback from you and from anyone who wants to try this.
Questions?
So the one on William Street, I could see that one working quite well. I'm just concerned about the visibility, and I know you do address the visibility here, but once it's there, it's, then it's there. Like even the cars parked on Main Street make it difficult to come out of William onto the main street. You have to kind of put your nose out there, kind of a long way. I just can't see that this is going to make that any better. It seems like it'll be even higher, maybe.
I think. Go ahead.
And just to add to what Councillor Dirksen has said, I would have an issue with the one on Main Street is because the crosswalk going there, somebody can come out and they're going across there, and that would be visibility. I got no issue with it on William Street.
Yeah.
And that the one on, just give you an up to date. The one on the Main Street has to be approved by the county on
Yes.
county road.
True enough. Yeah.
They'll be looking at that. The problem we have now, and I'd almost, if this didn't happen, I'd be recommending that we probably get rid of another parking spot there, because if you park a big truck, like a pickup truck or something, at that one spot we still have left, I think that's there, you got the same issues. I think this might actually, if you look at the way the one in Barrie is, that is a walkway around there. That might eliminate some of, that might be a better sight line. The Barrie one's showing that your thing's up against the building, and then you've got a walkway around it that's out into the parking spot. I would almost eliminate that parking spot anyways, because when you park, I've been there, and when you park one of those big, just normal pickup trucks,
Anything.
you got to go out there, and I think this actually might even be better. But I think you'd have to, when they do their site stuff, they'll have to make sure that the sight lines and everything are able to be done right.
In Palmerston, it doesn't seem to matter. I know that's the famous one, is the William and Main. Even you go back to Mini Street, there have to be cars parked along because you have to get way out to see there too. So I don't think anywhere where there's parking, I can't see this making any difference. Maybe if anything, I think you'll find that people going through town will slow down. You see this out here, so this might be a safer option by our own. That's my view of it. My first thought was that too, but
I kind of like the idea that you're actually putting the patio on the sidewalk and the walkways out into the roadway rather than the opposite, because I'd be more concerned about cars hitting. But I think that all has to be go through county, and I'm with Bill. You see this all over the place. We're in Halifax, we're in Ottawa. This is the future, and I think to help our businesses, I can see this happening in Harrison in a couple of places. I can see it happening in Clifford, just to allow small businesses an opportunity to expand their seating capacity and survive. So, I think we have to work all those details out, but those concerns, I'm sure, will have to come out and see the final site plans. I take it there would have to be a site plan come back to us, and maybe we even have a little site visit and go out there and kind of get a feel for it. So, in principle, I like the idea.
I'll move.
Moved by Ron, second by Ron. All in favor? Turn it over to you, David. I think
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. I'd like to ask our R&D manager, Mike McIsaac. We want to talk about the winter maintenance, connecting links. I agreement and bylaw. So go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, this is just a housekeeping item here. As you can see, there's a small increase in the contract from last year's prices for the winter operations on Highway 89, 23, and Highway 9, the connecting links through our two communities there. Is there any questions with this?
Any questions on that? It's housekeeping. We do this every year. We're up a few bucks, which is understandable. So the recommendation, if there's no questions, the council receives the August 13th, 2018 report from the Roads and Drainage Manager, Winter Maintenance Connecting Links, Agreement and Bylaw, and considers bylaws in regular session, authorizing the mayor and the CAO clerk to sign the agreements with Owen Sound Highway Maintenance Limited for winter maintenance of connecting links in Clifford and Hairston. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Elliott, Councillor Anderson. All in favor of that motion? That's carried. Against? That's carried. Thank you very much. I'll pass the chair back to our mayor.
You and I guess I'm taking over Mary Lou being away, so our treasurer's up here to talk about some treasury things. We have 4 items.
4, yes. Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Yeah, we have 4 items today. So the first is an outgrowth of the AMO conference. I guess you always pick up something practical. So this municipal asset management program has been in place through the FCM. It's a federal program, and it was due to expire in 2020, and I've had all the applications on my desk for a while. There's always been something more urgent. And I was at a breakfast meeting, and they said, our allocation is rapidly being depleted. And I thought, well, I better bring it to this council meeting. And it was like the next day we got the announcement the program is ending October 23rd of 18, like 2 years ahead of schedule.
Wow.
So obviously very popular. So I've consulted with Public Works, and that I said we could come up with a dozen different ways to spend this money. But in our asset management, I think it's common with a lot of municipalities. Stormwater is the one where we really lack a lot of data. It's kind of the forgotten child, if you like. But I think in Minto it ties in so well with all our flood discussions and water control. So I chatted with the engineer, and I think we can do something for around 80,000 or so. So basically it'd be one of those programs to take the money and as far as it will go. We recently did a lot of camera work in the sanitary sewers. If you recall, you saw the trucks around this spring. So that's what we're going to go for if council endorses it, and we'll get the application away as soon as we can anyway. Form.
Questions?
Good luck.
Yeah, it was funny. This program started off a little slow, Gord, didn't it?
Yeah,
because people
gone.
and then they started saying like, we got to spend this money.
Yeah, we kept hearing nobody's applying.
No.
And all of a sudden,
boom,
we're out.
So they did a good sales
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
Okay. No questions. The recommendation is FCM MAP program provides 80% of the funding qualified projects to a maximum of 50,000. Present financial envelope is rapidly allocated. Municipal years of past experience. Similar projects indicated the cost to obtain update data and condition ratings for underground camera would be approximately 80,000. This would be 30,000 refunded by the municipality if the maximum funding was received. Likely from I've got the wrong one. I'm reading the recommendation. I'm reading your report.
Yeah, it was nice.
Sorry, further.
very well.
Yeah, I should have turned my page up a little bit. Did you guys all listen to that report? Were you good?
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out the time.
Yeah, I know. And then I just turned the page up in this little thing. This new system, I don't have it all in front of me. It has to move scroll. Anyways, then we go for the money. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Recommendation there. All in favor? I want move it a seconder. Jean, Deputy Mayor Faulkner, all in favor? There we go. We got it there. All right. Next up. Still there, Gordon. Well, this is the tax collector.
Yes. So our tax collector is busy preparing the tax bill below us right now.
Yes, I see them down
Yeah.
there.
So
Stuff
anyway,
it.
but she has been busy before that, processing all these basically appeals and adjustments to assessments, and you can see by the schedule there's quite a number of them this time. So variety of things. It could be a change in use, like a business that's no longer there. It could be someone having an appeal, which is the most popular thing there, and having the value or the assessment class change. A lot of what we call the FTRTs, where existing farmer that is sold or something happens and it temporarily flips to the residential class, we have to get back to the farmland class. There's conservation land, which is basically wetlands and managed forests and those things too. Or maybe somebody does qualify for one of the other incentive programs that they're in. So anyway, it is fairly large dollars, total of 39,000, and our share is 15,000. So we have to allocate the rest of it.
I know. Thank you, Mayor Bridge. I know it's old hat, and I know we've discussed this 100 times before. Is there any way we can identify these properties that against the FOI that we not know what properties we're talking about?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. Well,
we're voting on accepting this
Yeah.
report and have absolutely no clue what we're talking about.
We could even have a conflict.
That's right.
You could have. Now,
Yeah.
when we say they're not identified, the roll number's there.
So he
The
doesn't look it
roll
up.
number is public.
I got those memorized.
Yeah, I thought there's only 3,300. Yeah. so I guess if anyone was interested in a particular
Okay,
one,
but no, I'm not talking about for the general
Yeah.
public. Because
Hey, I
we're
agree
the
with-
council are passing these motions.
Yeah, we used to, but then it came into whatever accepted policy that you're not supposed to. And I know I got to look them up and say, well, what's that? Oh, that property, And anyway, but if you have any questions of a particular one,
I already had my question.
yes, you can see. There we are.
And my only comment is, when I see the conservation ones, I don't have a problem with the people doing the conservation of the land. I just still feel it should not be a municipal responsibility.
Yeah.
It should be the province, and that's another one that that bugs me. That's
And
downloaded
the order
on
of
us.
assessment we've talked many times.
Yeah, that it should be, and we've tried, and the county's tried to look into that, tried to get people to see that as of the concern, and it's just that those are the things that people down in Toronto are getting. They're getting the extra care of our climate. They're getting the care of our water systems. They're going into their system, but they're not paying for it, right?
Yeah. It's just
That
as you
bothers
say, it's off the radar.
I don't blame the
overall
people to go and get it. And all that. I think it's a good program, but I just don't like the way it's loaded on us. That's the same as the farm tax rebate as well. We don't call it a rebate. No, sorry. But
the class.
It's a class, and that again, when that was originally done, it was for everybody to have a little bit of a lower food production, so it qualifies for everybody. Should be paying into that as well. But we've been talking with OFA on that and all the things, and we keep pushing that. But that's my only thing when I see these. It just reminds me of it.
No.
Yeah, I can look up those roll numbers.
Oh, I'll get right on that tomorrow.
Just ask Ron to know.
I'll move that.
Moved it by David, second by Ron. All in favor? National disaster. How's that going?
Okay, it's going well.
Good.
As the CEO alluded in his presentation, that's where we got the money to do this LiDAR flood mapping.
Yep.
So this is a natural outgrowth, rapidly approaching deadline of September the 14th. The only kind of sad thing about this is this program is ending. So again, if we want to levy our federal counterparts, I think it's a very worthwhile program, especially in view of all the things, and look at the Conservation Authority, and it's all tied together. So basically, our first initiative under this was to get the flood mapping, start some modeling, which we've done Steve Jackson of Maitland Valley has done a bit of public outreach. We're going to do some more and a bit more analysis. Out of that, we don't have any magic bullets, but there's 3 or 4 things have kind of looked intriguing. Maybe there's some minor mitigation. So we've decided to go under the mitigation planning and small capital improvements, which that might be a berm or something, not talking about a dam or anything like that, and try and refine the costs and the practicalities. We have a hard deadline of March 31st, 2020. So in talking with Linda Dixon of the county and Steve Jackson, our engineer, we're trying to stay away from those things that require a lot of regulatory approvals because we don't have time for a 3-year environmental assessment. So stuff that's minor in nature but practical and hopefully will be positive. So again, the spending on this is a pretty narrow window. We can't start till April 1st of 2019 and have it all wrapped up by March 31st of 2020.
Questions? Recommendation is the council receives the treasurer's August 28, 2018 report, National Disaster Mitigation Program Intake 5, and approves an application for mitigation planning and small-scale structural mitigation to include analysis of a limited number of alternatives and cost estimates, regulatory approvals, and minor structural work under the National Disaster Mitigation Program, subject to council receiving the updated cost estimates before signing the agreements. Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, second by Jean. All in favor? Just on that too, which I like the fact that when we did that flood, talking to Steve and that, and talking when we had our last meeting, one of the nice things about having all that, you can actually do a computer mock-up and sort of see what the cost benefits. So this is important. So if we do something here, what's the cost benefit? We can actually do it without doing it. And hopefully we'll come up with the ones that'll give us the best bang for our buck.
Yeah, it's amazing technology.
Yeah. So it's just.
Are they going to replace it with another program?
I hate to say it, but I'm not optimistic. Again,
Really?
I was talking with the people at the trade show there, and there's the large program for example, the Windsor project where they're going to do a $70 million dam. So there's that one. Way out of reach of what the town of Minto can do. I could see this being kind of like a non-partisan. Like, I think this is a really good use of federal tax dollars.
So too.
Yeah,
we can all lobby for that.
It's actually,
we should be.
Well, I can tell you it's on the agenda for the Rural Forum at FCM meeting I'm going to on September 10th.
Yeah.
So it's on the agenda. I'll be able to bring back a report to see what they're doing on it, because exactly what Ward said, they're talking bigger projects, but there's a lot of small ones that could be done, and FCM has a good rural voice. So
for sure.
I'm hoping that we can have a bit of an idea when I get back on. I'll do a report. Okay. Did we moved that in?
I did, yes. And
did everybody vote on it? Right. Approval of accounts.
Okay, one more. So we're out there spending money. So here we are.
We got it. We still have it.
Yeah, this is in full swing. So we have some government remittances and getting that there. We've got some drainage for $22,000, the compressor at the arena for about $11,000, and the big one, we had the miscellaneous paving, as you like, the blind line and all those. We're just getting the bills, even though the work was done a while ago. So that's about $400,000 of that. That's on the one. And then, no surprise, the next one we have $514,000 in the Clifford project, and a lot more to come. But it's going well. I think we got almost all the work done at the sewage treatment plant that we got awarded the contract back in the spring for $24,000, and a lot of ones for a few $1,000s in the baseball and pool and that too. And speaking of the mapping, that was another $19,000. So we're getting the first allocation spent. And yeah, and then we had to replace the air conditioners here at the office. They all went this spring, and we've certainly used them, as you can tell. So, yeah, so it's fair.
Questions on the Uber?
Sure.
Dave and Ron, all in favor? Okay, thank you, Cory.
Great, thank you.
Other business as disclosed.
Nope. Curtis Marshall.
What? I don't have it on mine. Oh, that was right. That was added on. But it was Brubaker report. Sorry. It was Curtis.
I have it on the screen.
Yeah. Well, that's right. We can use that. I'll just watch on the screen. Hey, Curtis. Well,
Good
you
afternoon.
rolled in a little
Warm
earlier
day.
than the 5
Yeah.
o'clock schedule. Therefore,
And I didn't drop all my stuff in front
Yeah.
of you this time, so I made sure of that. So
That's good to be
now,
reminded.
now Leon, I think he was going to try and be here, but maybe he hasn't made it yet. But I did have a chance to speak with him on the phone this morning about this, so he is aware of what I've proposed in the draft bylaw.
Mhm.
So just to bring you back, we had a public meeting on August 3rd. We did receive comments from one neighboring property owner at 5557 Minto Normanby Town Line, just next door. Just to summarize, the resident had concerns with, start off, they had no concerns with the full utilization of the existing drive shed for the business. What they did have concerns with the future expansion plans and the unknowns related to that plan, and felt that building that size may be better suited for an industrial park. Now, in terms of planning staff had also requested additional information from Mr. Brubaker, and he did. We thank him. He did provide that to us right away, and in our report we've summarized the question and the response for Mr. Brubaker. So that was very helpful and allowed us to move forward and prepare a draft bylaw, which we've attached here in the agenda. So at the end of the day, what we're recommending is that we continue to treat Mr. Brubaker's business as a home industry, which is a small scale use on a commercial farm. So with this approach, we are proposing that he be allowed to utilize the existing drive shed that is up to its full size, which is 7,800 square feet, and use an acre of land, basically the yard around the building. So now what we don't support was his proposed additional expansion of another 7,200 square feet, which would bring him up to 15,000 square feet. Now we note he has indicated that he had no immediate plans for this additional floor space, and he's unsure what his needs are in the future. We feel that the expanded business approaches a scale and size that's more typical of an agricultural commercial use, and we do not support the rezoning of the property to an agricultural commercial zone without more specific details and the established need for the particular zoning. So without this extra information, it's also difficult to review the size and scale and the potential impacts that the business may have. Saying that, I let Mr. Brubaker know that I'm not saying the door has, in our opinion, the door is not closed, that in the future if he needed additional square footage, we'd consider that at its own merits at that time. So just to summarize the draft zoning bylaw before you, it permits a total gross floor area of 7,800 square feet for the business use. We've clarified that the business is more than just a corn planter meter repair business. That was written in the old zoning bylaw from the early 2000s. So we've clarified that it's for the servicing, repair, and sales of corn planters and seed drills. Because I did have a conversation today that some of the things he works on are seed drills for grain or canola, etc., soybeans. So thank you. We've clarified that. And again, it would allow for a total of an acre of land area within the farm building cluster. And we've provided an air photo showing you approximately what that acre would give them. And that completes my report to you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, great. Thanks. Questions? Mr. Brubaker, happy enough with this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And speaking with Mr. Brubaker, he felt I guess I can report back that, in my opinion, he felt satisfied with what has been proposed today. So.
And the person that was asking the concerns, there are. Have you had a chance to talk to them?
No, I haven't had an opportunity to speak with the neighbor, but my understanding, based on their comments, are the I guess proposed compromise should be consistent with their.
I did correspond with the landowner who had concerns, and she didn't say that she was fine with this. She didn't write a subsequent letter, and I think we did share the reports with her, or she did look at them online, and then she wrote and said she'd just like a copy of the decision. So as of now, I don't have anything further that there's concerns. I think probably this went a long way.
And I think the compromise you made on the fact that if they do need expansion in the future, at least they'll know the numbers and what that's. I think that's a good compromise in the sense that I think the idea was you wanted to sort of prepare the opportunity that we might get bigger and do it all at one time. But I understand where the county came from and where that's fine. And you're not saying no to it, but we'd have to bring it back and look at it. So I think that's a good compromise. We need a motion, though.
Mayor Bridge, I believe the amended bylaw is on your agenda.
Yes. So we'll just receive the report and then we'll take it up in the bylaw one. Keen, Ron, all in favor? Good, thanks for this. Thanks. Okay, now I'm into the other disclosed.
I don't think it shows up though as a bylaw in the bylaws.
Well, I thought it was on. Did we not put it?
2018-71.
I thought it was there.
Oh, I'm sorry. There it is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is business. Other businesses to close. And I have got. Jean, would you have something?
Yep. Just to remind people that the Terry Fox Run is coming up.
Yes.
I'll be running or walking it. I don't know that I'll be running, but I will.
I want
be
to see you run.
Participating in it. Yeah, I'd like to see me run too, but that's not likely to happen. But just for those who are able to join or participate, and if not, we have pledge sheets, and there'll be some in at David's office, and we appreciate the support because this disease, the more we can do to eradicate it, the better. It just affects more and more people all the time.
Pretty.
I was just going to say kudos to the Palmerston Fall Fair organizers, volunteers. It was a great fair. They didn't have great weather, but we're a pretty resilient bunch. And yeah, it was a great event.
My granddaughter.
Oh yeah.
I thought I left that to you, Ron. Were you not going to make that point?
That's kind of funny because I just had a messenger thingy pop down here on my screen, and it said from a Facebook friend, and it said, "What's the name of the Palmerston Fair ambassador?" And I'm like, "Thank you." I'll answer her when we have.
There you go, Ron.
Lions have a golf tournament coming up, and it's a week from Wednesday. Together with Community Living, had this, I don't know how many years now, between the two of us. Used to be two separate tournaments, now it's one. They were going to retire, and the Lions Club decided that why don't we make it one. So we will go together with them every year and split proceeds. There's obviously going to be, I think most of this money goes back to the Hairston part of it, and Lions obviously keep their half and put it back in there. So if you want to participate in that tournament, say it's next Wednesday, $125 a head, or 4 times $125 for a team. There's $100 sponsorships for holes if you wish to participate that way, or if you happen to find a prize that you'd like to bring forward, just get a hold of me for all of the above, and make sure you get to be involved. A great tournament. I think Dave was telling me right now we've got about 24 teams.
Good.
Ready, so
excellent.
Moving forward.
Yep. David, did you have something?
Yes, I did. Thank you, Mayor Bridge. I just wanted to comment on the Canada Packers reunion. We did have Great response from from all the folks that used to work at Canada Packers. And same thing, I'd like to thank publicly Kinsman Club for helping us out on the Friday night. The Hairston Legion did a great job for the weekend. The Hairston Historical Society, Leslie Motors, Downtown Revite, and the Cultural Roundtable. The weather was beautiful. It was just everything just came off without a hitch, and it was so on behalf of the committee, I'd like to thank all those organizations and all the people that come out to help us celebrate. Thank you.
Really good event.
Ron.
Just the County of Wellington Plowmen's Association had their annual, I guess, competition, and it was well attended, and there was really quite a number of politicians and competed, and it was pretty neat actually. And the town of Minto supports that, and I think we should continue to, because it's a dying art actually, and I don't know how that's going to be sustained, but just on that note, one of the icons of Canadian agriculture is the Outdoor Farm Show, and I was just informed this week that they've been asked to vacate the premise, or the land at Woodstock. So this is probably going to be the last year of that Outdoor Farm Show. And pretty proud of our job of all our staff and volunteers for 2016 IPM, because I don't think they have one for 2020 yet.
Want to take it on?
No, we're not going to take it. Oh, somebody is welcome to take that on.
Just kidding.
So thank you to the town for participation.
Just a comment on, it's been a busy last few weeks. Lots of great things happening, and now we won't have a meeting before our September 14th, which is the Harrison Fair. We're looking forward to the Harrison Fair coming up, so we have a meeting in there. So I want to invite everybody to the Harrison Fair. And have lots of fun. I'm looking forward. I didn't get to see the soapbox derby race last year because I was away. So I'm really looking forward to that, because I always wanted to go down that hill when I was a kid. So I don't think I can get one to fit me, Dave, but well, I'd like to get out there. But and I just have to say, this council is when I go out at all these events, the council is there at most of the events and helps out wherever they can. So I really appreciate your efforts of being at these events, because it really helps solidify the town itself and what we're all about. So thank you for all your participation. And that's it for me. And we'll have a break until 5. Because what?
It's up to council if you wish to do that break.
Oh.
We could amend these motions and go from committee of the whole into council and do the bylaws.
Okay. Yeah, we can do the bylaws. Yes, I never thought of that.
And Elaine, we amend the motion to go from regular council into committee of adjustment.
We got quite a bit of time here.
And then we'd have to do another one to close the meeting.
Yeah.
So we'll make it happen here. Okay. Yeah. So it would be Councillor Elliott and Deputy Mayor Faulkner move that committee of the whole convenes into the adjustment. Would it be a friendly amendment to change committee of adjustment to regular council?
So approved.
Okay, so
we're so clever, Ron.
That's why we're Ron.
That's right.
Okay. So moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, that the committee of the whole convenes into regular council. All in favor? Carried. Okay.
So now, if it's okay, Mayor Bridge will do the bylaws.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right.
I'm sure I'm going to mess this up, but Annalene will fix it.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Turton, second by Councillor Elliott, that the bylaw number 2018-49 to provide the drainage works in the town of Minto, known as Municipal Drain 39, be introduced, read a third time, and passed on council seal of Seal Corporation. All in favor? We used to sing for a second there, but not. There we go.
And I'm not sure which one of these drains is the gentleman and his wife who were here the other night.
Oh.
but my understanding is he has called in and he is agreeing to the assessments.
Oh, right. That was the
It's
one.
not.
Oh, that is
not
six.
This one that's coming.
It's 39, isn't it?
39.
39.
39.
No.
Or do we, no, it's 20,
It's 24.
24 maybe.
It's 24.
Yeah. Okay, so all right.
Whichever one it is.
There he is there.
Okay. I know they went out and talked to him, so. Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, the bylaw number 2018-50 to provide for drainage works, the town of Minto known as Municipal Drain 60 be introduced and read a third time and passed over to council. Seal of the corporation. All in favor? Good. Moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor Turton, the bylaw number 2018-51 to provide for drainage works in the town of Minto known as Municipal Drain 24 be introduced and read a third time and passed over to council. Seal of the corporation. All in favor? That's 3 drains out of the way. Moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, that the bylaw number 2018-54 to amend the zoning for 6739 Wellington Road 109 and permit additional use on 6630 Wellington Road 123 be introduced and read a third time and passed over to council. Seal of the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Dirksen, the bylaw number 2018-66 to authorize the execution of an agreement regarding 2018-19 winter maintenance of Highway 9 with Integrated Maintenance and Operations Services, Inc. Be introduced and read first, second, third time and passed on to council. Seal of the corporation. All in favor? Right. Moved by Councillor Turton, second by Councillor Elliott, the bylaw number 2018-67 to authorize the execution of an agreement regarding the 2018-2019 winter maintenance of Highway 9, 23, and 89 with Integrated Maintenance and Operations Services, Inc. Introduced, read, first, second, and third time, passed on to council. Seal of the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, the bylaw number 2018-68 to appoint the members of the Wellington County Joint Municipal Election Compliance Audit Committee be introduced, read, first, second, and third time, and passed over to council. Seal of the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Anderson, the bylaw number 2018-69 bylaw to approve exemptions in Schedule A of the bylaw number 0280 Section 2 be permitted to permit chickens in residential area be introduced, read, first, second, and third time, and passed on to council. Seal of the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Turton, second by Councillor Dirksen, the bylaw number 2018-70 being a bylaw to approve the delegation of powers and policy to delegate certain powers and duties to the officers and employees of the town of Minto be introduced, read, first, second, and third time, and passed on to council. Seal of the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Dirksen, that the bylaw number 2018-71 to amend the zoning for 5543 Minto Normanby Town Line Minto introduced, read, first, second, and third time, and passed on to council. Seal of the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, second by Councillor Turton, the bylaw number 2018-72 to authorize the execution of a site plan agreement with Dan Sinclair, Mary Street, Palmerston be introduced, read, first, second, and third time, and passed on to council. Seal of the corporation. All in favor?
Now, if I may, Mayor
Yeah,
Bridge,
better stop.
Yeah.
we have a motion here to ratify the motions made in committee of the whole. I think you could probably do that one too. That's number 6. So,
okay.
you want to do that?
Right. Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, second by Councillor Dirksen, the council of town of Minto ratifies motions made in committee of the whole. All in favor?
Just asking.
And then Councillor Elliott and Councillor Anderson had moved that committee of adjustment convene into regular council. This would be now that regular council convene into committee of adjustment. You okay with that?
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I have nothing to do with that.
So you just that regular council.
That goes there.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Anderson, that the regular council meeting goes into committee of adjustments.
Yep,
that's right.
All in favor?
So now you're in committee of adjustment, and you have
You have to
10
wait.
more minutes.
You have to wait till 5 o'clock.
Ron, what's
Okay,
the
take a break.
address of the chicken coop that you were so admiring of?
If you turn, come right back behind.